Thank you.
Today is Wolfgang's birthday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to Boone after this.
Hey, so I've got a question about this resolution approving financing terms.
Yeah,
I've got a question why we chose 2 years.
because we can pay it off at any time, and it's a lower payment.
Well, I figured that. Just wanted to ask.
That's why.
Okay.
Why strangle yourself if you can pay it off at any time? at
Yeah,
low
yeah,
payment? Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the April 11th Beach Mountain Council meeting. Please remote your phones if you can, so we don't get disturbed. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people signed up. Are you any here to sign up for the public hearing on the financial of the town hall?
Yes, sir. Robert McMichael.
Robert? Okay. Everybody else? What about, well, I have 2 Roberts.
I would like to speak twice.
Both?
Once in public comment, once in the public hearing.
Okay. And the rest is on the public comments, correct? Thank you. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Cyclone, sir?
Thanks, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our scripture lesson today is from the book of John, and since we just had Easter not long ago, this pertains to the when Mary went to the tomb and found it empty and went back to tell the other disciples. So early in the morning, on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw that the stone was moved away from the entrance. She ran at once to Simon Peter and John, the other disciple, the one that Jesus loved, breathlessly panting. They took our master from the tomb. We don't know where they put him. Peter and John, the other disciple, left immediately for the tomb. They ran neck and neck. The other disciple, John, got to the tomb first, outrunning Peter. Stooping to look in, he saw the pieces of linen piled high. This is one of my favorite parts of the Bible. I think it shows how much the disciples are like us. They're just kind of good old boys there. I get a kick out of even though this is John, he doesn't refer to himself, but he does say the disciple that Jesus loved. I'm sure Jesus loved all the disciples, but John says he's the one. And then to me, the funniest thing is the race that they have to the tomb. John said that they ran neck and neck, but I ran Peter and beat him to the tomb. So I think that sounds so much like most of us today. This past month, 3 of the world's greatest religions celebrated their holy days. The Christians, of course, the Easter, our Jewish friends, Passover, and the Muslims, Ramadan. Now, Jesus never traveled over 100 miles from the place of his birth during his 33 years on earth. Despite this, he became the most important person in the history of the world. His teachings today are irrelevant as they were in his life on earth. His teachings were spread all over the known world by his disciples after his death. The disciples were kind of a raunchy bunch, to say the least. I've heard a lot of so-called Bible experts say, had they picked them, they wouldn't have got the ones that Jesus did. They'd have gone somewhere else to get some. But of course, this was part of Jesus' plan. He got what he wanted, and he filled them with the Holy Spirit. But you can imagine how the disciples must have felt at Friday when Jesus was crucified, because so many of people that time felt like he was the Messiah. And then when they found out that he was dead, well, that was certainly a horrible feeling. Why does he want us to spread his word when he's not even alive? But then, but came Sunday and the empty tomb, and that's when the disciples got all fired up again, even though some of them had denied Jesus. They still decided to go, as Jesus told them, go to the corners of the world and preach my gospel to the people. So they did, and despite the appearance of them, the Holy Spirit used them to spread the Christianity. But these men paid a terrible price for spreading Christianity across the world. All of them were martyred. John was the only one of the 12 to die of old age. And before he died, though, he was beaten, stoned, jailed, almost killed. But he's the one that Jesus gave the instruction to take care of my mother. So he did for the rest of her life. Peter was crucified upside down in Rome because he didn't want to be killed the same way that Jesus was. He said he was not worthy to die like Jesus did. So he has to be crucified upside down. And they honored his request. Andrew was killed in Russia. Philip in North Africa was put to death by a Roman council because the council's wife had heard Philip preach and become a Christian. So he put him to death. Bartholomew was killed in India. Matthew was stabbed to death in Ethiopia. Thomas was stabbed to death by soldiers in Iraq. James was stoned and clubbed to death in the hands of north of Israel. Simon Sayed was sawed in half in Persia. Philip was martyred in Turkey. Judas Thaddeus is the other Judas he's known as, not the one that betrayed Jesus, but he was killed by arrows in Turkey. Matthias was martyred north of Israel. Paul, the only one that wasn't the original 12, yet he wrote more of the New Testament, the Bible, than any of the others. He was beheaded in Rome. And of course, the Judas that betrayed Jesus committed suicide like that. Would you bow your heads, please? Lord, we thank you for allowing us to call Beech Mountain home. We pray that you'll bless Joe, our president, Roy, our governor, Barry, our mayor, Bob, our town council manager, all the council. Grant them wisdom, courage, and compassion as they make decisions that affect all of our lives. We ask you bless and protect our military, our law enforcement, our firefighters. And we ask you to continue to bless the United States of America and Beech Mountain. Amen.
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 Thank you. Just quickly, we're missing one member, which is, I forgot to mention, which is Vice Mayor Rick Harding is away on vacation. So we'll be running with the three of us. Yeah. The great three.
Three
He's
Musketeers.
listening on the phone. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
Okay, so we have public comments. We got a public hearing on the financial of the Town Hall Visiting Center. I need a motion to open up the public hearing.
Make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Robert?
Robert McMichael, 710 Pine Ridge Road, Bell. I am concerned about adding to the town's debt at a time when we are trying to lower taxes. Adding to the debt forces this council to add points to the millage rate, pay that debt. I was here at the meeting where you all decided this, to pay approximately half of it out of the reserves, and then finance the rest, and it concerned me then. I'm concerned about how many points it's gonna add to, force you to add to the millage rate. I'm curious as to what is our current debt load and what does that add to the millage rate? You know, we have to pay the debt, we have to pay taxes to pay the debt, that's what the obligations are all about. Because of that, I believe that passing these costs of the town hall reservation renovations on to future taxpayers, when there are ample reserves in our savings to pay for the whole thing, is not a good idea, and I would like you all to consider not passing the resolution and financing the entire town hall out of current funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on the public hearing? I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the general public comments, Debbie Kennedy?
I'm Debbie Kennedy. I live at 112 Lake Ledge Circle. I recently had listed a vacant lot on Deergrass Road. I subsequently had clients contact me interested in buying it. We negotiated a contract and began the due diligence process. Since they wanted to build on the lot, I suggested they check the building restrictions, the permitting process, and the requirements of the town's website, on the town's website. After reviewing the process online, there were back and forth emails between them and Preston Yates as he advised the town policy, apparently developed with the town manager and public works. It was such that the town would not maintain this road or any road on Beech Mountain that did not have at least 4 homes on it. Note that Deergrass Road has 3 homes already built and continues as Laurel Lane with 2 homes on it, and then going towards Buckeye Recreation Center. This lot is on a spur on Deergrass that turns right where it meets Laurel Lane, but is identified as Deergrass Road. Further in the email exchange, the buyers were advised that if they were to build on the road, begin quote, it would be treated much like a private road or driveway, albeit in the public right-of-way, where you would be responsible for any maintenance, snow removal, etc. End quote. The buyers then arranged a meeting with Michael Holland and Preston Yates at the property to have some questions answered, including why the road had not been maintained since the improvements had been previously made, and the road is still fairly navigable. Swales are in place, city water and sewer are in that portion of Deergrass Road, and electrical poles are close. Again, Mr. Yates reiterated town policy not to take over maintenance until there are 4 or more dwellings on a road that meet minimum town requirements. Those requirements were identified as a minimum 18-foot wide aggregate base course ABC driving surface, a minimum 6-inch aggregate base course ABC number 7 stone, a minimum 6-inch compact and stable subbase course free of deleterious material, the road crowned at the center line or full cross slope to allow proper drainage, a minimum 2% and maximum 6% cross slope away from crown or across the roadway, a maximum running grade of 18%, and all necessary street signs and directional signs installed. The swales were required on all uphill sides of the road, existing swales to be reshaped as necessary to meet standards at a minimum of 24 inches deep. The side slopes at a maximum steepness of 3-to-1 grade, stabilize all swales, hydroseed, mulch, or sod. All swales must contain flow to an appropriate outfall or culvert. Culverts are required at all change of flow direction in swales. Culverts typically located at valleys, dips, or other areas where flow cannot be maintained. Minimum 18-inch double wall corrugated plastic pipe, CPP. and larger diameter culverts may be required where stormwater flows exceed capacity, riprap, or other approved stabilization and outfall. There's also a cul-de-sac that does not apply in this case. Based on town policy, the buyers tried to renegotiate the contract with the sellers due to their perceived information that it would cost around $11,000 to improve the road to driveway standards, which the town would not maintain, not provide snow plowing or trash pickup, or it could be up to $100,000, that number was unknown, to improve up to town standards for maintenance. Since the seller was already selling at a contractually lower than list price, the deal fell through. Sellers have now retained an attorney to represent them in this matter. It should be noted that I was told that the town policy was in the written ordinances, so I have asked for a copy, but have subsequently been told that it cannot be found. Through various means, we have been provided with North Carolina statute language, clarification through the chain of title and laws that clearly state the town owns the roads and are responsible for maintaining them. The seller's attorney provided them with statutes, copies of the deeds from the chain of title, and other paperwork supporting this matter, and advised his first step would be to speak with the town attorney to amicably settle this issue. The sellers have also obtained an estimate for improvement of the 280 feet of road that would improve it to town standards stated above, and take it just past this lot. Again, this is 3 lots in. The written estimate came in at $15,990 and was done by RC Excavating.
You have 1 minute left.
Since that time, the only progress that has been made is that the town now recognizes that it does have an obligation to maintain all public roads on Beach Mountain, but now the terminology has turned to who is responsible for the improvement of those roads. Since the roads were once improved, our question is why maintenance did not take place after the improvements were made. Additionally, the owners of these affected properties are not even aware that they have not, nor will they be improved in the future unless they pay for the improvements themselves. Nor have these owners been advised of this town policy. I've personally spoken with other owners that are affected by the policy, planning committee members, past and present, town council members, none of which have ever heard of this. In fact, I've only found 5 people that have. There is only one realtor that heard of it that I could find. Note that there are currently 63 vacant properties for sale on Beach Mountain, with about 7 of those that would be affected by this policy. This is a material fact that all owners and realtors should have been aware of, but which few are. Although my sellers are pursuing this matter with their attorney, I would ask that the town be proactive to correct their decision, as it affects many more than the current 7 lots that are listed, and I assure you very few, if any, of the owners of these affected lots are aware that their property values have been greatly devalued by this policy. Additionally, with so many new building permits issued, it's my suggestion that some of the money collected for this permitting process be used to fund the improvements to the affected roads, firstly to those that want to build on them immediately. It's my understanding that the road improvement funds come from the general fund, therefore could be budgeted. I would also request that a copy of the statement be entered into the minutes of this meeting.
Thank you. Whoever comes up, there's 5 minutes for a conversation, so let's keep it short. Sandy?
Hi, Sandy Carr, 505 Pine Ridge Road, and I'll keep it short, Mayor Barry.
Can you make the paper any bigger?
Do you mind? All right. First off, I'm here for the farmers market to let everybody know that we will be doing our 2nd annual farmers market. It's going to be on the first Friday of every month, June through October, and it's going to be right in the public parking lot, and it's from 2 to 6 p.m. I wanted to thank all of the residents, and we don't have that many of you guys here in the audience, but in TV land, all of the residents that came out and supported the farmers market. The first 3 farmers market, we had over 1,500 people in attendance, which is really great for our first year. The businesses also were fabulous in supporting the market. The vendors were so happy with the market, and it kind of takes 2 to tango. You need really great vendors so that people come and buy stuff, and then you really need the people that come and buy. The vendors were so happy, they sold out. They wanted us to do a market every week, but Chief talked me out of that. Anyway, and Kevin talked me out of that too. Just wanted to let you know our first market is June 2nd, and the cool thing that we're going to be doing, thanks to the TDA, is the first 100 people at any of our 5 markets that come are going to get a free market bag. So I thought that was really cool, and want to thank the TDA for their support of doing that. The other thing that we're doing is we're teaming up with Parks and Recreation, and you all know how windy it's been these last couple of months. We're going to be giving out 100 free white pine saplings to keep us with our Tree USA notification. Anyways, so the first 100 people that come to the June market, if they so wish, we'll also have trees, and Sean McNay and Lauren are going to give us little cards to tell us how not to kill the trees. So we're very, very thankful for them. Let's see. Remember I was saying the vendors are being so great. Mookies, and you all know Mookies, they're the caramel corn people. They're coming back for all 4 markets. One, they're not going to be able to attend because they're going to be doing the Highland Games. But Mookies is going to go ahead, and in August, the first 100 people that attend, they're giving a free color pop. So everybody's getting into the, giveaways. So we're thankful for that. An interesting fact, half of the vendors that have come up, and we usually get about 27, 28 vendors, half of them had never been to Beach Mountain before, which I thought was, kind of unbelievable, because these are all local artisans and farmers. Because of the farmers market, we're really opening up channels of commerce. What's happened is some of the vegetable people and the microgreens and the wheat people, they're all now working with our restaurants. So that was a really added benefit that I thought was really, really great. Then when our people, it's kind of like a 2-way street. When our people come up, the vendors, they kind of set up by me and everything. Well, where do they go? They go to Fred's, they go to Jimmy's, they get lunch. After the market, they go to the White Wolf Lodge, they go to El Jalisco.
Sign that you're keeping it short.
Yes, sir.
Go back to your paper, it's smaller.
I will. Okay, so just to let you know, we'll have the doggy hospitality will be open. We've got plenty of ample parking. And the cool thing that we have is the town tent. And at the town tent, you really get some great information. We have doubled our full-time residents in just like 2 or 3 years. There's a lot of families out there that don't really know all the cool stuff that we have on the mountain, and they don't know all of the volunteer opportunities. So any of you guys, and I know y'all are regulars here, if you invite them, please make sure that they stop at the town tent. We'll get them hopefully plugged in with some volunteer opportunities, like, for example, the fire department.
Thank you very much.
Can I say one more thing?
Short.
So there's flyers out here, guys. So if you want to go ahead and take them, it's got lots of information on that. Please feel free to put them out anywhere, and we're happy to supply you with some more. And I was going to thank the council very much for what you do. And that was the whole other side of this page, was thanking the council. But I won't read that.
Man, poor Kevin.
Appreciate it, thank you. Kevin?
My name is Kevin Beck, 123 Wild Daisy Lane, Nicaragua. It's practically like that. Council, I'm back. When I drove up Beach Mountain a while ago coming from our church, I noticed some great improvements that are going on along the parkway here. And then I went, wow, things are happening. Then I realized it must be the state of North Carolina doing that because it's a state highway. Yes, our roads are awful. They've gotten awful. Stormwater runoff is awful. Turn the camera and let them see what's going on. Because are you listening? Are y'all going to do anything? Will you answer me? That's what we're asking. All of us on all of our streets. I have friends here that I love that serve our council, for our council. But yet, I still feel like I'm driving in a third world nation when I drive along, even Wild Daisy. If you go on down the road, y'all live here. Aren't you seeing what we see? And what we see is when it rains a little bit, the roads wash over because every culvert, every driveway connection, every drain is plugged. It has not been touched since maybe last year or if in the past years. I don't know. I can't answer that, but I know not one limb, branch. If you come on down there to where you turn to go towards Wild Daisy Lane, you'll see it is so full now that we have to narrowly turn along there just to go on down because of all the debris that's washed up there, and no one is picking it up. Do y'all hear what's going on? Nothing. Silence. There's a movie. Us older folks know what it's called. It's called Cool Hand Luke. What's the famous saying there? What we have here is a failure to communicate. This is a one-way street. I did not realize that standing up here was only a one-way to verbalize and say things. But ladies and gentlemen of the gallery, the camera people out there on YouTube and wherever you're looking, it's not happening. And what's going to happen is people are going to get really irate, as I'm getting. In front of my own home, down Wild Daisy. Bob, you go visit our dear friends Renee and Darren. You know what that road's like. There's potholes you could drive and lose yourself in. And we have boulders oozing up through the road. Boulders, you can't do it. I was told we don't put rock on our roads anymore. It was asked for, but we're not doing it. Who voted for that? Raise your hands.
I guess it must have been you.
No, I didn't vote for it.
You just raised your hand.
I'm raising my hand. I'm symbolizing. Did you vote for it? Did you? Did you? To say no, we can't?
The council does not respond on the public hearing.
Ah,
So make your comment.
that's why. See, I'm ignorant of that. I'm sorry. I was hoping maybe this could be an open forum for a little bit of things that we could discuss things. Or call me. Come by my house. We'll have coffee. I'll fix you lunch or dinner. I'd like to talk about it. But what's going to be done? Write it down. What's going to be done is 1 month I was up here and I asked for simple things like getting all the debris out of the drainage and everything. Nothing in 1 month has been done. I put more rock on Wild Daisy Lane than the city has in my 6 years of being here. Nothing. I know my time's up, right, Bob?
Yes, sir.
I'll quit then.
Thank you.
Did you hear me though? What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Thank you. Robert?
First of all, you won't have to drag me on.
Big pardon?
You won't have to drag me on. Robert McMichael, 710 Pine Ridge Road. First of all, I think that the farmer's market is going to be fantastic, and I'm so glad that we're having one. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank Mr. Riccardi, even though he's not here. I assume you say he's listening on the phone.
Yes, he is.
For his continued support, for looking for an opportunity to make sure the public and the council have a chance to have a conversation on the proposed budget when we have a proposed budget. Mr. Mayor, your comments last month about public input on the budget confused
confused me a bit. I know that in June, there will be a public hearing, much like the public hearing we just had, where the public comes up and says things, just like we do now, and there's no feedback. In June, right before you all vote, so it's, 5 minutes or so before you vote, the hearing's closed and you all vote on the thing, so hard to act on any comments that you might have at that point. You also said that after or at the third budget meeting in May, that it was open to the public and there would be back and forth. And if that's the case, is in fact the case, then that's fantastic. I did not know that. I've looked at videos from previous meetings and minutes from the previous budget meetings, and I did see an area of public comment or conversation, or even on the video of conversation. Maybe because there wasn't any public here to actually have that conversation. But if that's the case, I look forward to that meeting, and hopefully we'll have a lot of good conversation at that time. Thank you for all your efforts on the budget, and all the members of the staff who are working on it. I know that it will come in, and we'll be look forward to seeing what it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We got a proclamation?
Yes, Mayor. If I could introduce Dr. Kelly Ashcraft. You come on up. Floor is yours.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you to all of you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, this one.
Oh, this one?
There you go.
Oh,
This one
this is
quick.
going to definitely challenge me in terms of multitasking. So thank you so much to all of the town council members for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm Kelly Reed Ashcraft, and I'm pleased to be a member of the Watauga Compassionate Community Initiative, known as WCCI, and I've also been a resident of Watauga County for 26 years and have enjoyed many a visit to Beech Mountain. On behalf of the WCCI, I'm really honored to be here to request that Beech Mountain Town Council declare the week of April 29th through May 6, 2023 as Resilient and Thriving Communities Week. You'll find a copy of the proposed proclamation in your packets. Thank you very much, Tamron. It's nice to meet you in person. To provide some background, the WCCI began formally in 2017 as a collaborative community initiative that includes staff from nonprofit local agencies, governmental staff, private mental health professionals, school system staff, emergency responders, law enforcement, the faith community, university faculty, staff, and students, as well as numerous community members. The mission for the WCCI is, quote, to promote health and resiliency in our community and to effectively prevent, recognize, and treat trauma by creating safe, stable, nurturing environments and relationships through education, advocacy, and policy change, unquote. The WCCI meets monthly and accomplishes its work through the Essentials for Childhood framework, and we do so through 3 committees: awareness, policy prevention, and events. Many of you may actually have been aware of our yearly WCCI conference that we've held, and we also hold other events throughout the year to increase awareness of different forms of trauma and adversity and to promote resilience and protective factors. I'm here this afternoon in that the WCCI is one of over 60 community collaboratives located throughout North Carolina who are engaged in similar work throughout their own local communities. 3 years ago, these grassroots community collaboratives formed together a voluntary coalition known as the Resilient North Carolina Collaborative Coalition, which is focused on policy change and increasing awareness about trauma and adversity, as well as preventing and treating trauma and promoting well-being. This year, the RNCCC has submitted its second request for a statewide proclamation the same week, April 29th through May 6th, for Resilient and Thriving Communities Week with the Governor's Office. We still have yet to hear about that being selected, but at the same time, all of us that are located throughout the state, we have been going to our local town councils, our county commissions, our boards of education, and seeking to declare that same week as Resilient and Thriving Communities Week. The WCCI recognizes that all children, adults, families, and our community experience stress and adversity, and we know that everyone plays a part in preventing these issues, intervening when they do occur, and promoting resiliency that buffers stress and adversity. We'd like to thank all of you for the many ways that Beach Mountain Town Council supports programs and projects that prevent stress and adversity, treat trauma, and promote resiliency. We really would like to thank you for your efforts working with your local workforce housing project. We look forward to having Talia Freeman speak at an employer-led housing effort in the next month. We also want to thank you for the construction project that's bringing potable water to Beach Mountain, your expansion for your town visitors as well as your members of the community, your continued support for services and for municipal staff, and all of your support throughout the year for community and organizational events and festivals. It was really special today for me to hear about your farmers market. I was going to say, and I'll take them. These are just a few of the ways that you and the county support efforts that prevent or treat trauma and adversity and promote resiliency and well-being. We also greatly appreciate your support of a number of community-wide initiatives that also are going on. Those are our own initiative, the WCCI, that continues to flourish, Elevate Watauga and the Family Connects program, the Watauga Housing Council, the Watauga Community Housing Trust, the Community Mental Health Project, and the First Responder Wellness Coalition. While this list isn't exhaustive, all of these initiatives demonstrate the important, committed, community-wide, ongoing efforts that support our community. In closing, we are really pleased to request your support for Resilient and Thriving Communities Week, April 29th through May 6th. Thanks so much for your consideration of this request, and I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have any for me, or at least attempt to.
Anybody have any questions? No, we're good.
Okay, thank you.
You're very efficient.
Oh, no, well, thank you.
Thank you.
New business. Need a motion to approve the funding of the water and waste project,
This is what, 8.1?
8.1.
Okay.
I'm assuming that, never mind.
Mayor, these are two items. This is a permission to go to the state revolving fund for additional infrastructure. One for about 25,000 feet of water and sewer lines.
Yep.
And we need your permission to file that application and begin the process.
So are we talking about a grant here, or are we talking about a loan?
This
or-
would be a state revolving loan.
Okay.
It would be a low interest loan. There is some principal forgiveness that's available in that loan. We won't know until we make application.
Okay,
Work on this project wouldn't begin until probably 2025.
okay.
This is similar to the last two projects that are underway, the 2018 water and sewer infrastructure project, and then we're just completing the one from 2020.
So we're just keeping the motion
This is
going
the
by
the
the next step?
group is
Okay.
about 50,000 feet of pipe.
Next phase.
Next phase, yes, sir.
Do the interest rates run lower with projects like this versus the money that the town will borrow from Truist?
Substantially lower. It's a state supported loan, and like I said, there's opportunity for principal forgiveness through the SRF program. The last loan we received was less than 2% from the state, and we had, the one prior to that had some forgiveness in it. I don't have the exact numbers.
Any other questions?
No.
You need a motion to approve?
Make a motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. All right, Bob?
Well, I'd like to just bring your attention to the financial report. It's through February 28th, 2023. You can see our benchmark is at 66.67. Our expenditures through the period are at 55.96 for about a 10.7% under budget expenditures, and our revenues are at 78.9. So unless you've got any questions there, on water and sewer, similarly, we're at 51%, almost 52% of expenditures on a 66% benchmark. And sanitation is just at 60%. So all in all, through February 28th, our expenditures are substantially below our benchmark for the budget.
I have a quick question on this, and I'm sure it may have been explained before. Unencumbered, the total unencumbered, because a lot of that column is zero until you come down to police and fire and then vehicle
Yes, ma'am.
maintenance. So that is, if you don't mind, just an explanation on that.
So the encumbered line item, those are funds that are they're spoken for. We either have purchase orders outstanding, primarily for the visitor center as well as police. Those are equipment and supplies that are
Okay.
outstanding. If you get down into road maintenance, those are usually supplies, tires, oil filters, it's inventory.
Okay.
So it hasn't processed through the system, but it's encumbered, it's spoken for, there's usually a purchase order in the works. It's so that you get a better picture at the bottom line, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
We want to show not only what's been spent for the year to date, but also what's been spoken for. We haven't written the check yet.
Okay.
In other words, spending.
It's pending.
So the recreation one is still part of the budget, it's just sitting out there waiting.
Yeah, all
To
of
get
the
paid for.
encumbered column is part of the budget.
Okay,
Those are budgetary items that, as the mayor said, are pending.
okay. Thank you.
I noticed on the year-to-date budget, most of these numbers come well under the estimated amount, except for the interest income, which is 663% above what was budgeted. That's a pretty healthy number, and I assume Steve would be responsible for that.
Sure. Councilman, what's responsible for that is the economy. As you know, interest rates have increased substantially over this fiscal period of time. And so our finance director, of course, invests, as you'll see, where our money is, and we're taking advantage of the higher interest. But Steve would like to take credit.
I'm
We
sure
should
the
give him
economy
credit. We should give him
economy
credit.
and our town manager is a driving force of this number.
No, he does that all. Any other questions for the financial reports? All right, let's see here. Lake Coffee update. Our process is going into a holding pattern. We're at a point where I'm being asked to spend a substantial amount of funds on the Lake Coffee project, mostly for geotechnical engineering. So we have to drill core, take core borings and see what's below. And we have not been successful in getting a land lease agreement with the resort. Mr. Costin and I have met. We met last week. We spoke again this week. The attorneys have been speaking. We have not been able to come to an agreement on the land lease. So I've been forced to put that process on hold so that we're not spending money on property we don't control, and going forward with the project until we can have that agreement in place. So I spoke with the town attorney this afternoon just prior to the meeting. He has spoken to Mr. Costin's attorney. We have a framework of what the issues are, and we'll be working diligently next week and in the days going forward to make that happen. Our funding requests are progressing rather well. Our appropriation from the state is moving well. We're in a holding pattern waiting for the Senate to produce their budget. And then the House and the Senate will go into conference. And there was $2 billion of infrastructure set aside by the House budget for water and sewer infrastructure in the state. And we feel we're positioned very well to get some of that appropriated. Similarly, we've got our FEMA disaster grant that's being processed through FEMA at this point with state approval. And we were asked if we would phase the project, we would score higher on our points. We completed that exercise, and the engineer has produced that phased program and submitted it, and we got high marks from the state, and so that has been forwarded to the FEMA government. We have letters of support. One I believe I sent you, if not I will. Representative Virginia Fox wrote a very personal letter of support on our FEMA disaster grant application, and she definitely has Beech Mountain in her heart, as she said in her letter, and I'll send that to you if I didn't. But we have some good support from the federal government side moving forward on that. And then, of course, today you approved the first phase of a GO bond, where we'll move forward in that track. Hopefully, we won't need to culminate with a $15 million bond, but we want to make sure we've got all of our funding mechanisms lined up. The Pinnacle Ridge well, as I reported last month, a notice to proceed has been given. Tonight, you appropriated moving funds out of our Source Water Development Fund. It was where we captured the revenue for this project, and we moved it into the project to pay for that well. And nothing's happened on the site, as the mayor pointed out to me today. The contractor hasn't turned a shovel of dirt. Permits are in place, and I expect to see construction soon.
How many gallons per minute is that well going to produce?
It will produce 100,000 gallons per day in a 24-hour day. We'll pump 12 hours, and that's about 25% of our average daily yield. So we're anxious to get that well online. So April is Blue Light Month in Watauga County. You may see a number of blue lights out in Watauga, particularly on Beech Mountain. And this is in honor of Sergeant Chris Ward and Deputy Logan Fox. They were killed in the line of duty 2 years ago, and April is recognized as the Blue Light Month, and we have blue lights throughout the town. We would ask everybody to indicate their support for those two individuals, as well as our police department with a blue light. Our Town Hall Visitor Center project is underway. Expect to see construction with temporary offices in the parking lot here. I'm relocating the Visitor Center operations to the Bark Park. We'll be putting a temporary office trailer there, plus using the Bark Park facility. If you recall, when we built it, there was a public access window. We're going to use that to hand out visitor center information to the public, as well as move the offices over there. That should be for an 8 to 12 month period. The Skiloff Road project, the deadline for the temporary construction easements is Monday the 17th. We have about 50% of them in now. Kate is working diligently to contact those remaining property owners to see what the issues are, if there are some issues, and we'll begin working through those. So next month I'll have a better report on where we stand with that. Our town cleanup and beautification of roadways is underway, contrary to what you heard tonight. The crews have been out working. They're on the parkway. If you drive down Tamarack, they're digging it up, putting in culverts, redoing the swales. We also have some signage down on Chestnut, where we're doing some work there. So the crews are out, and we'll be working every day.
Parkway looks nice, the work that they've done on it today.
Thank you. Wayfinding signs are being installed, Parks and Rec has those in. We're working through some private property issues where the signs go, that we have the proper easements, but you'll see those begin to go up shortly. This is National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week, the 9th through the 15th, where we thank all of our dispatchers. The town's providing food to acknowledge the professionalism and dedication of our emergency telecommunicators. So if you get a chance, stop by dispatch, knock on the window, tell them thank you. Those are really the unsung heroes of the emergency services. We're police and fire out on the street. I get to wear the white helmet. Everybody gets to see me. The people who really make it work are the communicators, the dispatchers, people who answer the phone, take your call, and dispatch the appropriate assistance. So if you get a chance, please say hi to them. And we're preparing mayor and council for the budget workshop on the 18th, and I expect to have the financial model updated and presented to you as we did last year. And I'll get you a copy of the draft budget and fee schedule by the end of this week. And that's my report, Mayor.
Boy, that was easy. Okay, town council comments. Kelly?
2 questions. The sign on Beach Mountain Parkway going down to Tamarack, is that resurfacing the police sign that's been,
No, that's for the culverts and the swale work that we're doing on Tamarack. When we block the road to dig across it, we're detouring people.
okay,
Also, we're beginning to replace the water service lines in that road. As I reported, we can't resurface it until the water service lines are replaced. So that's to better notify the motoring public of a detour.
okay. And the top part of Tamarack looks like it's been resurfaced again. Was that part of that water break that happened
That
on
was a
that road?
patch.
Okay.
And you'll see a number of patches as we go forward until we get the project complete, and then it will be resurfaced.
Okay. I'm also seeing a lot of tree activity in the area. What's the minimum again on the ordinance to get a permit to cut a tree down?
6-inch diameter, 3 feet above the ground,
Okay, and then topping trees.
needs a permit.
So you still have to have a permit to do that, and
Yeah.
is there a certain diameter or space or?
No, we make sure that you have permission to top the trees. We find a lot of people are topping other people's trees, so.
Right, well,
Our building department, when they do the tree permit, they make sure that you have permission to top the tree. Sometimes your neighbor is allowing the trees to be topped by another property owner, and we require that notification and that proof before a permit is issued.
okay, and then my last question on it is, I'm seeing a lot of
Deer.
yard debris now, tree debris that is now sitting at the end of driveways. What's the policy then on picking that up?
We pick that up usually on Wednesdays.
Okay,
We take the convenience center crews when the convenience center is closed, and they go out with the road crews and pick up and chip. There's some controversy there about if you've used a contractor to clear your yard, we don't pick up contractor debris.
okay,
It's kind of difficult sometimes to figure that out. People need to call Public Works, tell us they've got a pile of brush, they'll put it on the schedule, and usually on Wednesdays, we'll get by and chip it up.
okay, great. I just saw, there's been a lot of activity, so, that's it for me, Mayor.
We could also do that online too. Schedule.
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy?
Chief, in last month's meeting, you had mentioned that there was a little more than $5 million in grants. There was very little, if any, comment on this. How often has Beach Mountain received these grants?
In that amount,
Yes, sir.
I don't think ever. We've received $250,000 Part F grants. We've received, less than $1 million. The 5.4 million is what I reported last. That's almost 50% of our operating budget. That's a big deal.
It's pretty healthy.
It is.
So what's different, now I ask this gingerly, what's different today receiving this dollar amount versus what the town has done in the past? Is it just applying for the grants and going after the funds that are available?
Well, certainly you have to, you have to ask. You know, they don't just hand you money. So you have to apply, you have to ask for it. I think a lot of things have been different. There was a lot of federal money that came to the states. COVID money, CARES Act is some of the acronyms you may recall. So the opportunity was there, and we seized the opportunity and requested the money, and we're successful.
But you and Steve had to research what funds were available, correct?
Well, yeah, Steve did most of that work.
Okay. Well, this time I tried to give you credit. Now you throw it back on Steve. Can't have it both ways.
Well, it's not, you know, the hard part you would think would be getting the grant, and actually administering the grant is more difficult. If you recall, when we had a budget meeting this time last year, I asked for assistance in the finance department because we anticipated additional grant funds. You approved that. I haven't been able to fill the position for a number of reasons. One, I don't have a desk and a chair to put them in. But receiving the $5.4 million was a good feat. Administering the grant is multiple years. We just completed a reporting on that this week, and I think we have to report through 26 on those. So it's a laborious, time-consuming task to report on those grant monies.
So this is what we retained the Haggerty Group. They're going to assist in writing some of these grants, correct?
Yes, sir. And they also provide administration predominantly on the Lake Coffee project, where we're looking at $15 million. That grant provides a 5% administration fee on top of that through the federal government, depending on which funding mechanism we receive. And we intend to contract with them to help administer that grant over the period of the grant.
You know, obviously receiving this money has been beneficial, and I think it's also been a good investment hiring the Haggerty Group to keep this momentum going. Because of this year, next few years, as we know, there's going to be a lot of federal funding that is available. You also mentioned $28 million that had been invested in infrastructure. When did the $28 million, when did that start, give or take?
2017, that actually was an exercise, again, Steve Smith put together for me in response to Senator Hises' comments about what skin in the game does the town of Beech Mountain taxpayers have in this Lake Coffee project. So Steve put together an analysis of a little over $28 million that the town has invested in infrastructure, and that starts with the water plan in 2017, and it continues today with, we're going to add to it this SRF plans that you have approved tonight.
Yeah, I commend the town for the investment and the people that have steered this ship. So, and I want to try to find balance with my next comments and Kevin's comments, because we're friends, I think, what we'll see after the meeting. So, if Public Works, first of all, I want to defend Public Works, because I think Public Works has done a good job. I think these guys, they work hard. You look at where the mountain is, and I don't dispute that you don't have any issues down on your street. But Public Works does a good job, and I'd like to commend them for everything that they've done in the past number of years. You look at where Beech Mountain is today, and you look at where it was, and we've made, with this council and our town leadership, I think we've made a lot of great strides, and it shows. But to go back to Kevin's concerns about his road, if Public Works hasn't addressed it or looked at it, if maybe they could go down and see if there's anything that can be done to improve what Kevin said were some issues on his road. Last item, and this is probably going to be a little controversial because it was last time, is what savings would be created, if any, if the recycling center operates 5 days a week versus 6, because we used to operate 7 days a week. And then I requested evaluate 6 days a week, and now I'm requesting that we look at any, I mean, we're being challenged to reduce the budget. And do you have an idea, roundabout number that would offer potential savings if we operated it 5 days a week?
Well, you had asked me to look into that, so I did. It's a $50,000 savings in sanitation. It wouldn't affect the general fund.
Correct.
If we went from a 6-day-a-week to a 5-day-a-week.
What would be the pros of operating it 5 days a week?
Well, we'd have less expense on the sanitation side.
Okay,
I personally, I think the community would be upset. They seem to like the convenience center being open 7 days a week. But, it would be financial benefit to.
Can we put a picture of him on the fence? So when they come up on the 6th day that's closed, throw darts?
Other than the financial would be the benefit of obviously closing it another day. The labor costs, the energy costs will be incremental, but the labor costs would be substantial, about $50,000 annually to the sanitation.
So if you did close it another day, what would happen with the personnel that currently work the convenience center?
We would have to reduce staff, and what I attempt to do is move them into existing positions. I have vacant positions in public works and sanitation all the time.
And then Watauga County, besides Beach Mountain, I know they operate a convenience center down in Fosco. Is that open 7 days a week, or is that?
I don't believe it is.
I think it's
Okay.
4. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's 4. I think Blowing Rock's 4.
From what I remember reading, I think it was only closed 1 day a week.
What is it, Riley? 5?
Yeah, they're closed on Wednesdays and Sundays.
Mm.
You're up, Mary.
I want to put your picture on the gate.
Call him late.
I'm good with that. You put my phone number on it as well.
No, not your phone number, you'll never be the end of it. When will we have, I mean, we got the budget meeting on the 18th, but after the 18th, when do you feel we'll have the budget on the online?
Well, we've got that actually on the schedule, don't we? There's a date I have to have it online. Tamara can look that up for me. Mayor, what we'll do is, after the meeting on the 18th, we'll make the changes that council directs us to. We'll produce a budget, based on your direction after the 18th, and then we'll post it to the public. And it's on the calendar, I just don't know that date
I think
exactly.
you went to look.
I'm not gonna guess.
Yes.
May 4th.
So the budget will be on,
Thank you.
online on May 4th. And at the May meeting, we'll have a public hearing on the budget. So if you want to discuss or have any opinions on the budget at that time, we'll be glad to listen and have a conversation about it, if that answers your question.
As long as it's a conversation, not a public hearing like we.
No, it'll be a conversation, you'll be able to comment, and we'll go back and forth. We might not all agree, but we'll go back and, we might not.
Expect us all to agree, but just
we-
as long as we can have a civil conversation, that's what I would appreciate.
As long as nobody screams at us, we'll be civil.
When I said civil
But if
conversation,
somebody screams at us, we can't be civil.
absolutely not.
Well, if it's civil, then it won't be fun and entertaining.
I guess I'm gonna give a little bit inside track, but your comment about the financing of the building and adding to the millage rate. As a little bit of an inside track, it isn't gonna add a penny to it. Just so for your question. We're very conscious of everybody's really looking at it, and we're looking at it, And that's something that we're studying real hard. And so I feel confident that we're not gonna be adding anything. That's an inside track. Other than that, I'm not gonna make any more comments. But, as far as the roads, listen, we live in the mountains. The water comes down very quickly down the hills and it washes out our roads. We all have gravel roads, we all have the problem. We're working as fast as possible to change the culverts so that the water will run under the roads rather than through the roads. But it's it's a major project. I mean, we've got culverts in there that are what, 40 years old?
Yes, sir. A lot of them aren't ours. A lot of them belong to the public.
Yeah,
Private road.
that's the other thing, is a lot of those belong to the public, to your own. And if you don't clean them, the town isn't gonna clean them, so a little cooperation from everybody would make it work. Other than that, it's a beautiful day out there. Let's enjoy Beach Mountain. It's getting warmer. Sandy's gonna have her farmer's market out there. Our farmer's market, and I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for those who showed up, attended today.
You all set, Jimmy?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, this isn't a good comment. I was thinking about you.